Welcome to our mentorship session. And I believe that today you're going to be blessed and you're going to be empowered and you're going to leave this place successful, right? The vision of KICC is raising champions, growing up, growing big, growing together, raising champions and taking territories, right? So part of the things that we do in order for us to be able to raise you as a champion is mentorship. So we're going to be introducing our speaker, and I'll call upon Sister Livia, I don't know if she's ready, to come and introduce Sister Mirriam. But before she takes the microphone from me, how many of you were here last time? Let me see by show of hand. You were here last time that Sister Mirriam was here. Just raise your hand completely so that I can see. Okay. How many of you were not there? You're not there? This is your first time? Okay, great, excellent. So Sister Mirriam, fear not, you can repeat whatever needs to be repeated. You can emphasize what needs to be emphasized. And at the end of the day, we're going to have sessions, questions and answers that we can be able to take home with us. Amen? So I believe that it's going to be a great time. So Sister Livia, let's put hands together. Sister Livia, she comes to welcome the woman of God.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon once more. So I'm honored to be inviting our mentor who was here for a first part, and she's coming back for a second part. But I understand that there are visitors in our midst, and so I would love to officially welcome you to the 4-hour mentorship program by Kingsway International Christian Center, the Empowerment Center, which is KICC Kenya. Amen? So what is the 4-hour mentorship program? The 4 R's represent reskilling, retooling, reshaping, and redirecting. And that is our goal, to reskill you, to retool you, to help you reshape and redirect your lives. Amen? And this is coming from Romans chapter 12, verse 2, which says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." So our goal is to help you realize what the goal of God is for you in your life, mostly in the career aspect, because Pastor Fred takes care of your spiritual growth. So we also want to take care of your financial growth, your career growth, and your overall and general growth as a person, okay? Okay, so our topic for today, which was also our topic for the last session, is career progression, and this is part 2. And our mentor for the day is Mirriam Chitulu. I introduced her last time, but I will do it again for our visitors. Who is Mirriam? She is a seasoned professional in the field of program monitoring and evaluation, currently serving as the lead at UN Global Innovation Service, with a background in nonprofit management, government engagement, and extensive experience with the United Nations. Mirriam specializes in efforts to measure and analyze the impact of programs through designing and implementing systems. Okay? In the education aspect, she has an undergrad, she has a master's degree in epidemiology, and as if that was not enough, she's pursuing another master's in project management. Degrees higher and higher, amen? Okay, and then in the social aspect, she's a mother, a devoted wife, and she's celebrating 12 years of marriage and raising 3 kids, 3 amazing kids. She has Joel, Jonathan, and Jordan. Joel was with us here during the last part, and I hope she brings them back because they are amazing children. And I think she'll give us more and more about herself as she continues with the program. But just help me welcome our mentor, Mirriam Chitulu.
A very good afternoon, church. So before I proceed to the session of the day, allow me to express my gratitude to Pastor Fred and the leadership of the church for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Pastor, and the leadership. I do not take it for granted that you gave me another opportunity to come and take up this session. So thank you so much. Again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here, but also thank you so much for the feedback that you gave me over the last session that we had. It was quite encouraging and inspiring. So if you recall, last time I started by telling you my life story. And the main reason why I told you my life story, I wanted to give you something you can relate with. I wanted to give you something that could also inspire you, encourage you, and for some that could stir up some dreams, and I do hope I was able to do that. So the main takeaways from that story really were, number one, I wanted to tell you that no situation is far too gone. There is no situation that is worse off. So for those that were not here last time, I told the story about how I was orphaned at a very young age, at 4 years old for my father, and then my mother died when I was about 19 years old. So I just wanted to encourage each and every one of you that no matter what your situation is, you can still rise above that situation and become everything that you believe you want to become. But secondly, I also wanted to have you take away something very, very important. And this is something that is very scriptural as well. I wanted you to take up, I think, a lesson that it pays to build capacity. It pays to make some personal investments within yourselves. So about, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, I heard a certain preacher, not just a certain preacher. I think you hear me mention him time and again. His name is Apostle Joshua Selman. And I was very shocked when I heard him say this. So he spoke in line with Matthew chapter 25, from verse 14 up to 30. So it tells the story about talents. It tells the story about there was a master who gave talents to 3 different people. And then he tells about how he gave one 5, he gave one 2, and then he gave one talent. And then he went away, and then eventually this person came back only to find that the one who had 5 had multiplied to another 5 and had 10. The one who had 2, there was about 4 now, and then the one who had 1 just went and buried the talent. And then eventually he said something that stuck with me, and something that I believe will also be very crucial and very critical as you take this journey of your career advancement. He said, number 1, there was a reason why he gave a talent of different amount, of different measure to each one of them. The reason why he did this was the capacity for each and every one of you. So he said, God is not fair. God is not fair. God is just. I said, what? I've always known that God is fair. God is very fair. No. So today, as I share with you all of these things, as Christians, as born-again Christians, there's a grace aspect to it. There's the faith aspect to it. But there's also a responsibility aspect to ensuring that you grow in your career. Right? So this is something that I want you to have in mind. So the things and the opportunities and the doors that the Lord will open for each and every one of you, they will be determined by the capacity that you have. They will be determined by the level that you can take in, by the level within which you can withstand whatever comes your way. So this is another session where I just want to encourage that we work so hard, we do whatever it takes to make sure that we build our capacity. So with last time, I started from a place where you develop or you come up with a vision. And if I am not mistaken, I think last month, Pastor Fred came up with a teaching around purpose and vision. And he gave some insights. He gave some clear direction on how you come up with a vision or how you come up with a definition of who you are as a person. And I'll just repeat and add some few things that I feel will be very critical, will be very helpful for you. So one way to determine who you are in terms of your vision, in terms of the things that you have to achieve. Number one, you need to determine the things that you are good at as a person. Each and every one of us is good at certain things. If you seek through deep within yourself, you realize cooking comes so easy for you. Chatting with people comes so easy for you. Speaking in public comes so easy for you. There are just certain things that are inherent. You don't even need to practice them. You don't need to study hard about them. You don't need to, but this is something that comes so easy or comes so natural for you. So this is one way to know who you are as in terms of your purpose, in terms of your vision. So that would be very important, that when you go down, when you go back home, you sit down with yourself and you just write down the things that are so natural, the things that come so easy for you. Another thing that will also help you is the feedback that you get from people. So, people will always tell you, you're so good at this. How do you make friends so easily? For me, I have to take like 3-6 months to get to trust somebody, but you easily trust people. You're so, so those feedbacks that you get from people, one of my personal feedbacks that I get is that I'm a teacher, that I explain things well. And over time, I have realized, oh my goodness, I think I can use this in a way that helps. This is why I sit with the kids and I try to teach them in a way that they can comprehend, and then they come back home and you can actually see that, oh, today we learned about A, B, C, D. So it's because this feedback, I've received it over time. So again, for each and every one of us, whatever it is that you have received as feedback in terms of what you do good, what you do excellently, what you do with ease, that is something that will also just help you to determine your vision. Another thing that will also help you to determine the vision or the person that you're supposed to be in terms of your career or in terms of your service to the world is your place of pain. So what is it in your life that hurts you the most? What is it in your life that, when you look at it, it brings you to a place of pain where you feel like, no, I think this needs to be sorted out. This needs to, somebody needs to do this. But that somebody is you. So I've heard some people who have said, oh, my place of pain is seeing street children. My place of pain is maybe seeing orphans. My place of pain is hospitals where people are sick, all right? And they are helpless. So with that, you eventually realize that in as far as your career is concerned, in as far as where you need to go with your life is concerned, your purpose will become clear. Because now your place of pain, this place which brings you questions, which brings you to a place where you just want to provide a solution, but you're unable to, is something that requires of you to make an investment in and eventually align yourself in as far as your career or your personal advancement is concerned. We good? Okay. So another thing that you may also want to consider in as far as your personal vision is concerned is something that makes you really happy or that brings you like personal fulfillment. We have certain things that just makes us very, very happy. So again, those things that make you very, very happy or that bring you personal fulfillment can also give you an idea. So for some is when they sell something. When they sell, they feel like they own the world and they'll be walking around like, they have all the money in the world. That may also give you an idea that you're a marketer. It may give you an idea that you're a marketer. So these things that really make you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm doing my best. I'm at the place where I'm supposed to be. There are those things. So each one of us has those individual things that we can point out to say, when I'm singing, I feel like, I have the world under my feet. When I'm talking to people, when I'm So whatever it is that makes you really, really happy, whatever it is that makes you really content in that moment, that can also be something that can help you determine or help you realize your very personal career or whatever it is that you need to be doing right now. Now, once you have that in place, once you have that clarity, it means now you need to go that step further where you now develop your goals. Now your goals don't come from the air. They don't come from anywhere else. They come from this place where now you have determined your vision. Who is it that you are as a person? Now, with the goals, last time I spoke to you, I think I gave you direction on how to develop the goals. So when it comes to your career, you need to make sure that you develop goals that career. I tell them a program monitoring and evaluation specialist, practitioner, expert, I tell them that. But I say, I want to be able to showcase how your program, how your efforts, how whatever you're doing is bringing results into the world. So as a person, what is it that you want to showcase as a person, career-wise? So give a name to your career. Give a name to who you are. I want to encourage you that when you develop these goals, you already develop them in line with who you are as a person. So when you develop these goals, what are the other questions that you may want to also determine? Another question that you may want to determine are the experiences that you want to have within your career. And I was clear last time to say you need to be very clear about the experiences that you want. Do you want to own a company car? Do you want to be driven around? Do you want, so within your career? So if you want to be driven around, if you want to own a company car, if you want to have your own car and be driving around, even the type of car, be clear. And then another thing that also should also come in handy is, I would say, the things that are quite important with you as a person. So what are the things that are quite with you? What is the difference that you want to be making as you are advancing in this career? So your career journey will take 3 main stages, okay? In applying for jobs to get into that, career path that you want. So the number one, and the application into that job that you want. So you get into that inclusion journey or step number 1. The second step is influence. So once you get in, you need to develop to a level where you have influence, where you are a leader within the technical skills that you bring into this space or into this marketplace. So as a person that is going out to achieve so much for your career, you need to be very clear about how you want to make this. Basically, what it also entails, or what it calls for, is that you grow and you are mentoring and you are making some changes within the context that you're in. So, for example, you get in as an officer, and then we should see you moving on to become a manager or to become a director. And then eventually you go on and become something more. So beyond that, there's the final level, which is the level of impact. Now this goes beyond just you making impact or making changes, goes ahead and makes these changes to the entire Kenya, to the entire Africa, to the entire world. So we need to see you as a person that goes on to move through this journey or these stages, from inclusion, where you just enter in, it's just the step into the space that you want to go into, then the influence, and eventually we want to see impact. So all of this will come in full circle if you have well-defined SMART goals that arise from the vision that you have developed, or the vision that clearly stipulates who you are in terms of your career. And then over time, the goals that you have developed will require that you continuously improve, you continuously amend, you continuously make changes to them. Why? We are living in a changing world. And with the changing world, it means you need to incorporate some changes that the world is bringing to us each and every day. I don't know about you, but every day I wake up to something new. Every day I wake up to something new. Every day I wake up to something I didn't know or I've never heard of. So because we wake up to this, it means we need to be up to date in terms of our goals, but also the vision that we have. So with that, I also spoke about developing essential skills. I said for any career path or career journey that you take, there are three critical essential skills that you need to develop. But there's adaptability, digital literacy, and emotional intelligence. And I said being flexible to the changing world, being flexible, being malleable, being able to adapt, being able to soak into the environment that you're placed into. Because you will not always be placed into a place of comfort, into a place where you are used to, into a place where, you know, it's the norm, like everyone believes in what you believe in. So therefore it calls that you are adaptable. Secondly, I talked about digital literacy. I said we are living in an era where digital literacy is key. Each and every one of us should be able to know basic skills in IT, basic skills in operating a laptop, operating a phone, operating any digital gadget around. So I said, if you don't know how to, this should be your first step. This should be the first start in your career, that you go back and you learn. So learn how to operate a laptop, any digital gadget that you're presented with. So that is very critical. Again, I talked about emotional intelligence. With emotional intelligence, I told you about how it's very important that you're self-aware, but you're also aware of other people's feelings, other people's conditions, and where possible, I mean, it helps to just have empathy, right? Yeah, so it does help to make sure that we also exercise a level of emotional intelligence. And then I also talked about some personal convictions. That, you know what, it helps to have personal convictions direct your life. It helps to make sure that you have certain things that you believe in that help you shape the direction of your life. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? So the way you think is the way you are. The things that you believe are the things that you are. So the personal convictions that I was telling you about last time, really, they are just with your thinking processes. They are just a guide to help you with the way that you perceive yourself, the way that you perceive your capacities, the way that you perceive the things that you can achieve for yourself. So I think these were the three essential ones. But a disclaimer is, depending on who you are in terms of your career, it will demand certain levels of skill set, right? So for some, for example, it will demand that they have public speaking skills. For some, it will demand that, they have analytical skills. For some, it will demand that they have, leadership skills, because it demands that time and again, they are in interface with, other people. They are giving feedback. They are solving problems and stuff like that. So it means with whatever career journey that you get into, it will demand these three essential skills. But beyond that, the other skills are tailored to the journey that you are going to take. So beyond that, I also spoke around... Are we good? Oh, okay. I also spoke about personal branding. And I said with personal branding, I emphasized on the point that whether you know it or you don't, whether you agree with it or you don't, whether you see it or you don't, people are watching you. They are watching everything. They are watching the way you dress. They are watching the way you speak. They are watching the way you talk to people. They are watching the way you relate with others. They are watching everything. They are watching your post on Facebook. They are watching what you post or what you like or who you follow on Instagram. They are watching on the comments that you're making on TikTok, they're watching everything. And in watching everything that you are doing, that shouldn't scare you. That calls for you to define who you are as a person. And then you stick with that definition of who you are. And then that you remain the same in each and every situation. So that you are not a different person in church, you're not a different person at work, you're not a different person somewhere. I saw an interesting comment that somebody made. And this was on TikTok. So there was this girl, she posts about pastors, she posts about being born again, she posts about, being really this girl that is, that fears the Lord. So she posted this. She posted this. And then there was there's a Kenyan guy. This Kenyan guy, he posts a lot. I see him a lot of times. This Kenyan guy has a daughter who's 6 weeks or 8 weeks, but the baby is very young. But apparently, the mother to the baby, the day that she gave birth, she took the baby and dropped the baby off to the father. And then she ran off with, I think, a Nigerian rich person or something. And this guy comes, I don't know, seeking sympathy, but he comes, he posts on how the baby is growing. And, there are some people who are hyping this guy. Oh, wow, we like it. Oh, see. And then this girl who posts, these things about God, she came on that post and she commented. She said, yeah, the girl did well. Men are trash. Men can be, she said all of these very, very, I would say, concerning things. And she said, and then she says, I don't even feel sorry for you. You deserve it. What did you want her to do? Women should be wise enough to leave a man who is broke. And, she said all of these things. And I saw the comment, because oftentimes I'll go and look at what people are saying just to get an observation of how people think. I do that all the time. So there was a girl who came into the comment of this comment now. So this girl comes and says, hey, what a shock. This coming from you. Yet you are there posting things about God. You are there showing us as if you love God, you're a born again Christian. I was thinking of being born again. But just seeing this comment, you know what? I don't even see the need to get born again. Clearly, all born again Christians are liars. I was thinking, believing that, I could be born again and I could also be stylish. But looking at you, you're stylish, you're born again. But no, you're not born again. And this person also went and trashed. And now I was interested to go and see the profile. Oh, I went and I saw it. And it was interesting. Oh, she really posts about God. Nice things about God. Nice. And you would see her and you would believe, oh, she's a nice girl. But on this other end, she thought she wasn't going to be found out. You understand? So when it comes to personal branding, my plea to you is, you may think you're not being found out. You may think people don't see you. You may think people don't see it, but people do. They do see it. People know it. Some are courageous enough to come and tell you. Some are not courageous enough. Some will gossip about you behind. But this personal branding is very critical when it comes to advancing in your career. Because I'll tell you, there are some organizations who will look at your Facebook profile. They will look at your Instagram. And you'd actually think they are being petty. Oh, they are not. They just want to get to know the person they are getting on board. Why? Because some organizations want somebody that is relatable. I heard about a certain guy in South Africa. I think 5 or 6 years ago, he posted something very bad about a certain bank in South Africa. And he said, oh, this bank is so slow. The way that these guys operate, leaves a lot to be desired. So this guy said, he spoke his mind. And people were there and they were like, yeah, the best bank to go to is, they were actually giving options. And in a way, he was not marketing this bank, right? He was trashing it. 6 years down the line, this guy has grown and matured. And he applies for a job at this slow bank. And this bank went back and looked at some of the things because somebody said to them, oh, no, this guy, maybe he's just looking for a way to make money. But he's never liked this bank. This guy had done well in his interviews, but when it came to the job, they didn't give him because of this post. And you'd think and you'd think it's petty. It's not. So the internet never forgets. So it's very important that you have that in. It never forgets. It remembers everything that you post. It remembers. And right now, I don't know about Kenya, but back in my home country, people have a tendency to screenshot. So you post a status. You post a status and then you think like, okay, I think I should delete it. By the time you delete it, somebody has already screenshotted it. And it's going around. It's making rounds. You understand? So it's very, very important, okay, that we mind the things that we post. We mind the things that we say. We mind the things that, how we act, anywhere that we find ourselves. So when it comes to the personal brand, you need to be very intentional and you need to be very serious and you need to be very, very committed to making sure that you're building a brand that will represent you very well, okay? And then, beyond that, I also talked about consistent messaging, which is just making sure that you're the same everywhere. And then I also talked about continuous refinement. So whoever you are known to be, it means you also need to adapt to the changing world. Make sure you are changing. Make sure that you are learning. Make sure that you are adapting to whatever environment that you're in. So it also ensures that at least your personal brand is known to be something that people can count on. You can go to the next slide. Yeah. So the next thing that I wanted to speak about from today is about embracing lifelong learning. So one of the things that will differentiate you from the next person in as far as your career is concerned is the things that you know, okay? So you notice that when you go to work, there are certain people that seem to know more things. There are certain people that seem to have an idea or a contribution in any meeting. There are certain, you understand? And their contributions are not just, mundane contributions, but they are contributions that you're like, how come I didn't think about that? Is there also something like that? I don't know if you sat in those meetings, or if you sit in certain meetings and you just wonder, what differentiates you with that person are the things that that person knows. So what does it mean? Within your career, you need to make sure that you know, that you know, that you know. All right? So for example, for me, one of the things that I personally believe is that there's just so much information out there. But one of the things that I should know beyond anything else, okay? I don't need to be a jack of all trades. I need to be a master of one. And a master of one is the career that I am in. I challenge anybody. I challenge even my supervisor. I challenge a lot of people. I say, if you can wake me up in the middle of the night and you just ask me a question about my career, I'll be able to explain. I know my career to that level. So whatever it is that you are doing in your career, know it to the level that is very admirable. So what does it mean? What it means is, if you're a marketer, know marketing inside out. Know everything that is coming, in this age. Know the new concepts. Know the new information that is there about your career, about the things that you are doing. Okay? It's good to also know about sales. It's good to also know about evidence. It's good to know also about quite a lot of things. But it helps to know about your career inside out. So we should get to a place where whoever you are, if you're a banker, we should be able to know that we can ask you any question about the banking work that you do, and you'll be able to respond to us instantly. You don't have to say, and I know there are certain informations that you have to refer back to certain documents or, but there are certain things that you should be able to just say them outright, okay? You should be able to just say them right there and then. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because as you grow in your career, you'll be invited in certain sessions where you will not be able to have enough time to prepare. So you have to draw from the things that you know. You have to draw from the things that you have learned over time. You've got to draw from your experiences. So this continuous learning really comes from the first step, cultivating a curiosity. Have you noticed that children always ask questions? Have you noticed that? They'll ask questions after questions. If you want to learn, if you want to grow in your career, ask questions. Ask questions. And it's very important that you're asking questions that matter. Not just any questions, but questions that matter within your career. Okay? So if you want to grow, make sure that you cultivate a curiosity. And in cultivating the curiosity, you ask questions. Questions that matter in line with your career. So ask. So if you're in a job that is doing teaching, you need to ask, why should I teach? Who does it help? How does this impact Kenya? What are the current trends in education outcomes? You understand? So these are the things that you're asking yourself. Because you know what? Over time, you'll not only be a teacher. One day, you'll be the director of education within the ministry. So you should be able to explain, to say, oh, okay, in my life as a teacher, these were my experiences. But on the national level in Kenya right now, the educational levels or the education outcomes are at this level. And then as you're explaining that, it means you are tapping from something, right? It means you are somebody who is knowledgeable and people can trust you with even more responsibilities. So number one is to make sure that you're cultivating a healthy curiosity that will help you build up who you are in terms of your learning journey. Another thing is making sure that you adapt and you thrive. So what do? It helps that you're learning. It helps that you're asking questions. It helps make sure that you give yourself opportunities to learn, to become better. But learning doesn't stop at just, gathering all of this information. Go out and act on the learning, okay? So these people that ask questions, these people that make contributions, after they learn, they come there and they speak as if the things are coming from their head. They are not. They have learned them over time, okay? It's not somebody is just thinking in that meeting, okay, what if we no. Whatever people will speak in meetings that will amaze you, that will wow you, that will just make you think, oh my goodness, this person is brilliant. Really, it comes from a place where they have learned over time. And like I said, they are in that moment, they are drawing from the learning, from the experiences, from the knowledge that they have gathered over time. So make sure that after you have done all this learning. So right now we have a lot of opportunities to learn. You go on LinkedIn, you can learn. You go even on TikTok, you can learn, right? You go on Facebook, you can learn. You go on Instagram, you can learn. You can choose to look at fashion pages, or you can also choose to look at some people that can inspire you. And something that I wanted to emphasize on is that in as far as learning is concerned, no one can do it for you. I have one motivational speaker that I follow closely and I really like. Her name is Mel Robbins. You may do well to look her up if you don't know her. So Mel Robbins is usually on TikTok, I think, and also on Instagram. I have not seen her on, anyway, I'm not on Facebook, but I don't think the time I was on Facebook, I saw her there. But she says something that I really like every time. She says, no one is coming. No one is coming to wake you up in the morning. No one is coming to learn for you. No one is coming to teach you the things that you need to learn. No one is coming to, so no one is coming. That someone is you. So it means when it comes to your learning journey, no one is coming to learn the things that you need to learn about your career for you. You've got to be intentional. about the things that you want to learn. So go ahead and be that someone for yourself. No one is coming to encourage you. You'll be lucky that Sunday when we come here, Pastor will encourage us, Pastor will inspire us, Pastor will, he will try to just feed us the word of God so that at least we have the energy to start the week again. But Pastor will not be there every single day of your life. He also has other things to do. He's a husband, he's a father, he's doing other things. So he will not be there 24 hours holding your hand and telling you, oh, God is good. Oh, you can trust him. Oh, you can believe that he loves you. Oh, Jesus. No. So no one is coming every single day. No one is coming 24 hours of your life. That someone is you. You've got to show up for yourself. So when it calls for adapting and thriving, it means that you take up the information that you've been learning, the knowledge, and then you leave it out. You act on it. So when you learn, you just don't sit. You act on it. Once you're confident about, the learnings, then you've got to go out and inspire others. So I laugh when I hear a lot of preachers and a lot of teachers and a lot of public speakers, when they say, oh, I used to practice teaching. Oh, I used to practice speaking in public. I personally used to practice to speak in public or to speak in a group of people. I used to practice it. What would I do? I would go into the mirror. I would hold something like this, like a mic. And then I would start speaking to myself. Good morning. You understand? Now, at adapting and thriving, you are doing that. The things that you have learned, you are practicing them. You are being deliberate about, gauging yourself in as far as knowing what you think you know is concerned. Okay? So once you have that level of confidence that I think I know, I think I can do this, you go out and you inspire others. So how do you inspire others? Now you go out, you teach. Now you go out, you show. Okay? You show that you know. All right? So right now, for example, if you're an IT person and there are certain things that you are not very sure about, start learning them. Start learning them, and then you'll be doing them behind the scenes. Then one day, during a meeting, say for example, you're learning about managing meetings in Outlook, right? And then you learn about, how to mute everyone. How to make sure that, because these are things that you actually be surprised that a lot of executives, a lot of people at the high level, they don't know them, right? But you, because you're in IT and you know how to manage these things, you look like a star when you tell the whole director of your organization that, oh, sir, just go on settings and then you understand. It will look like you are saying out of this world. That guy will never forget you. Okay? Already what it means is you've created visibility for yourself. Okay? It means you've created visibility for yourself. And the people who are there that don't know also will remember, oh, it's that, they may not remember your name, but they'll remember, oh, it's that guy who knows how to operate. Oh, can you call that guy? He will know what to do. So all I'm saying is, as you learn, as you thrive, as you practice, you've got to create opportunities for yourself to showcase what you have learned over time. Okay? So in showcasing, it doesn't mean that it has to be something big. But you can take any little opportunity that is there for you to showcase. You can take any little opportunity that is there to just make sure that you show the world or you demonstrate the knowledge that you have learned. And again, I'll still go back to what I said last time. That another opportunity for you to showcase or demonstrate what you're learning. Also, another way for you to be able to showcase how your career should advance, all right? Or where you want to take your career is in church. Pastor Fred here is calling out on workers all the time. We need workers, we need workers. If you feel your job calls for public speaking, you can join the people who do announcements, all right? The first day you'll be shaking, all right? And this is church. The good thing with church, no one will laugh at you, okay? all of us will see that you're shaking, but none of us will laugh at you. Okay? And I also want to believe that, yes, we will say, because we are people, we will say, oh, but she was shaking. Oh, he was shaking. But you know what? The second time you shake a little more. The next time you will not shake. You'll be shaking in your heart. We will not see it. Okay? And then over time, you come here and you'll be speaking like Sister Livia. You understand? Okay? So, what am I saying? Because the world will not create opportunities for you as just, as just a way of just making sure that you grow. You have to go out and seek those opportunities by yourself. And I've told you that the church is one easy way, one easy place to make sure that you are showcasing these things. So, for example, if it is IT, you can start sitting there. The first day, you give us wrong verses. The other day, now you know where to go and how to do it, how to operate. All right? So that day we'll see that you're making mistakes. We'll see that Pastor Fred is saying one verse and you're giving us a different one. It's okay. Some of us will tell you, what's going on? Who is there today? But the next day you will do better. So what am I saying? I'm saying that you will make a lot of mistakes. As you learn, as you try to grow, as you try to advance into your career, you will make a lot of mistakes, but have a little mercy to yourself. Have a little mercy to yourself. Give yourself an opportunity to make those mistakes and grow out of them over time. But if you're not going to do this, trust me, 5 years from now, you'll still be at the same place, looking at Sister Margaret and wondering, how come she's able to stand and lead prayer like that? Me, I can't. Okay? All right. So all I'm trying to say is it's very important that you take a bold step and try out the things that you have learned over time. Because when you just make sure that you are learning and then you are keeping these things as a garbage bin, or you are just taking in as, is it the Dead Sea? The Dead Sea takes in, but it doesn't take anything out. There is nothing special with you. There is nothing special that we can point out to. Because over time, we will not know what you know. We will not even know how to refer you to a job. Because we don't know the capabilities that you have. Okay? So, it also helps. Again, when you start practicing here in church, when you go to work, it will become easier. Okay? It will become easier. The first day you also shake there. Because over time, as you get used to. But over time at your workplace, you also get better. So just to encourage you that it helps to move from learning, knowing the things that you learn, practicing them, getting to a place where you are an expert, you know them beyond reasonable doubt, and then moving to a level where you are now applying the skills, applying the knowledge, applying everything that you have known. So I want to speak about facing challenges, seizing opportunities. So this is one of the things that I was taught to speak about, facing challenges. When it comes to facing challenges, challenges are inevitable in life. They will come all the time, all right? Even Jesus said, in this world, you have trouble, all right? So in this world, whether you are somebody who prays or you don't, whether you're somebody who is doing everything right or you don't, whether, even the Bible says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. So simply because you're a good person, it doesn't mean the challenges will not come. They will come, okay? So in your career, you will face a lot of challenges. So I want to bring you to my personal stories so that at least this can resonate with maybe some of the things that you are going through, or you may go through, or things that you may encounter in your career advancement journey. So I remember when I started working for an NGO called Population Services International. The supervisor that I had, from the moment that she saw me, anyway, she made this confession to me, I think, later on. She looked at me and then she thought I was a diva. That's the conclusion that she made of me. She saw me and she said, she looks like a diva. What can she do? How did she even get in? All right? So the challenge that I had was that because she already had this preconceived idea of who I was, and that I was a diva, and that I couldn't do anything, and that as a person to her, probably I got in through the back door. She was always watchful of me. She was looking at everything that I was doing. And with that, there were a lot of times when she literally showed me that she didn't trust me. She didn't trust me with certain responsibilities. She didn't trust me with certain job outputs. So she would bypass me a lot of times. Now, initially, I would go to work, and I remember I was about 21, 22 years old, just out of college and out of a teaching job into my first NGO job, and this person is not giving me the time of the day. Initially, I would sit in the office and watch a movie. So, I don't have anything to do. So I would sit and watch a movie. After that, I would watch another movie. So I would spend an entire day at the office watching a movie. But then I would tell myself, after all, I'll get paid. She's not giving me work. She's not giving me clarity. She's not giving me any direction. And I remember one day, a very good friend of mine, we are still very good friends till today. He's actually, I like to say he's actually the person that introduces me to the most important things of my life every time. So he's actually the one that introduced me to KICC. He's actually the one that introduced me to my husband. He's actually the one that introduced me to Joel Austin. He's actually one of the preachers that I really like. So one day he told me, oh, I went somewhere and there was this person, he was listening to this guy. And when I saw this guy, I just thought, this guy was so you like. He's a guy you like. I said, who's that guy? I said, his name is Joel Austin, but now I think you know where I get the name Joe from, right? That's how much I love Joe Austin. So Joe is my firstborn son. So I said, okay. So this time around, I stopped watching movies. I started listening to Joe Austin. To the point that I have some Joe Austin sermons that I can speak from morning until the end of day, because I listened to them a lot. I memorized them, from his jokes to how he starts his sermon until the end. Like, I can say word by word for everything that. Then, as I was listening to Joe Austin around this time, he preached something around living in joy, blooming where you are planted, and making efforts to grow. And then there was another teaching that he also taught about living with difficult people. And those were the ones that helped me get from that place and then start doing the right things. So what did I start doing instead? So I would go to work, we would go into a Monday meeting, she would give work to everyone else, I would sit down and write down everything else that she was giving to everyone, and then I would go sit with one person and say, I hear you are doing this. Can you be doing it? And I see how you are doing it. So with that, I learned how to do GIS, which is Geographical Information Systems. I learned from watching somebody. I learned how to analyze data using SPSS. I learned how to analyze data using Stata. I learned pretty much a lot. So right now, as I stand before you, I'm not just a number within the UN. But these things I learned through a time of challenge, okay? So I gave myself to providing a solution. So I would sit and learn from this person who seemed to know more. I would sit to learn from this person who had been given responsibility. So it helps. Sometimes you'll be bypassed by supervisors. And in that moment, it's not a time to go about gossiping, corridor talks. No, it's not a time to say, okay, I'll just be on TikTok, or I'll be on WhatsApp, or I'll be chatting with my friends. After all, I'll get paid. So if you face a challenge where you're being bypassed by supervisors, find a way of how you can learn. If other people that you are supposed to learn with cannot help, one of the things that I've done for myself is I also spent time on YouTube. So you can learn certain things from YouTube, but there are some good teachers there. There's a data visualization app that, anyway, the UN likes to use. It's called Power BI. I learned that on YouTube, literally on YouTube. I would sit and then pause and practice. Sit, listen, pause and practice. You can also do that. You can tell yourself 1 hour a day. I will sit. There are people who teach even English, okay? Okay? So if it's an accent you want, and you commit to it, like I'm serious. I have a friend of mine who has taught herself the British accent. You'd actually think she grew up there. No, she was born and raised in Malawi. But she really wanted to be speaking like the British. So she would give herself 2 hours every day. So she would be practicing and then speaking, you know, as if she's speaking in her nose. You know how? You know, speaking through her nose. She does that. So what am I trying to say? You face a lot of challenges in your line of work, but you need to find a way, you need to devise a way that helps you move from those challenges with triumph, okay? So with that, I would really encourage that when it comes to challenges, whatever challenges are there, find a definite solution. Find a definite solution. I like to say no situation is far gone. There is no situation in your life, there is nothing that you go through that is it. That is the end of it. I've told you about how I've lost my parents when I was very young. I've told you about how I have taught at a very rural school, right? I've told you about how now I worked for an NGO, like an international NGO, where I was not even given work. And this was where I was supposed to start building my career. But what did I do? I found a way to make sure that I adapt, I become better. I don't go out just with movies. I step out with skills. I step out with a track record of who I was. And over time, this supervisor eventually started giving me opportunities. And the first time she gave me an opportunity, really, she wanted me to fail. Like literally. Because there were some people who would go to her behind the scenes and say, but you should give her an opportunity just to see. So she gave me this opportunity. And this opportunity was to train some researchers who were supposed to help us with data collection of one of the main surveys that the organization was doing. And this was a survey that was being carried out on behalf of the Malawi government. It was a malaria indicator survey. And, you know, she gave me this opportunity that, okay, go and train the researchers. But at this time I was ready. She didn't know I was ready. So it helps that when even these opportunities come for you to showcase after challenges, you are ready, okay? So it helps that you make sure that in whatever challenges that you have, so you have competitive co-workers. I don't know if you have competitive co-workers. You know those co-workers that want to look nice, that want to look good, that want to look like they are the ones doing even your job? So let me tell you, it helps to make sure that you mark your territory. And one of the things about us Christians is that we think being kind, being nice means to be bullied or to be taken advantage of. No. Jesus was never taken advantage of. When Jesus needed to react, he would react. When Jesus needed to answer back, he would answer back. Right? We need the wisdom to know how to act in every situation. So in a situation where you have co-workers that are always trying to look good, that want to take advantage of the work that you're doing and showcase as if, no, push back. Show that you are the one leading. In as much as, yes, you want to show that, you know, we are working as a team. I think there was a week that I was speaking to a friend of Margaret's, and she was talking about how she's been applying for jobs in the UN, and she's never been shortlisted. I said, how is your CV phrased? How do you apply for it? When you apply for a job in the UN doesn't expect you to say, oh, we collaborated on this. No, the UN wants you to show that you're the one who did. So me, when I talk about me in the UN, I show them that, you know what, I'm the one who was doing. I'm the one who was leading. I'm the one who was managing. Okay? I was the one who was directing everything that was going on. Yes, there were people that were helping. So be ready to show in your workplace. Okay? Be ready to show that you are the one who is on top of things. So there will be those people. And this is not a place where you go and gossip. No, when you have a meeting, they say the things that they want to say, they want to show as if they are the ones. Step in and say, just to acknowledge this one, then go ahead and say your own. As a person who is leading on this project, I have so far done A, B, C, D. Yes, I appreciate and acknowledge the collaboration, the support they are offering. However, and one of the things that I also want to say is that be a person who provides solutions. So when you are presenting issues, already also provide a solution. When you identify a problem, already be quick to provide a solution for it. My supervisor, every time I go to her, I already know that when I speak to my supervisor, her name is Natalie, she's really a very good supervisor. But when I go to her with any issue that I've observed, Natalie, I've noticed that, you know what, within this department that we are working, the information that we have is just a lot and it's spread out. This was one of the things that I was telling her about. So I said, I think the information that we have is spread out. We have Slack, we have Teams, we have all of these platforms that, you know, information sits on. And then if you haven't paid attention to your Slack for a day and you were on Teams or you were on your emails or you were online on Google Sheets, whatever, you may miss out on this information. I was thinking, so I presented that as a challenge, right? Before I could provide a solution, she said, so what do you think? What should be done? So already it means when I'm going to her, I provide a solution. Now, something that will differentiate you from the next person in your career is now the ability to identify problems and then some suggested solutions. So your solution will not be perfect always, okay? But once you come up with an idea of a solution, it can be crafted better, okay? It can be revised and then it can become better over time. So it helps that in the face of challenges, you are not just looking at just the way out, but you're looking at a way out, a solution for that is long-lasting, not just for yourself, but even for the next person that is coming behind you, all right? So another thing that you need to know in as far as challenges are concerned, you need to be able to stand through the test of time. There are certain challenges that no matter how hard you work to make sure that you get rid of them, they will not be gotten rid of as easily. You just need to be resilient. You need to make sure that you're okay with them, whether they are happening or not. You're okay with yourself, okay? So it also means that in these moments, you are able to withstand. And for me, one of the things that will help you is the word of God that Pastor Fred teaches, Sunday in, Sunday out. Because this is what will keep you going amidst the challenges. So it may happen that, you know, your career is going well, but at home things are not going well. It may happen that things at home are going very well, but now within the career you are trying to raise money so that you can do your next study and you can't see a way to raise money. You need to be okay with yourself. Now, being okay with yourself is now the art of resilience. The art of living out your best self, even amidst the challenges that you are facing. So it helps for you to be able to just make sure that you develop a level of strength to withstand whatever is thrown at you. Again, another thing is just making sure that you capitalize on the momentum. Now, in your organization, every organization has three responsibilities. Every organization. They have the responsibility of inclusion. So they have the responsibility of making sure that you feel accepted, you feel that you're a part of the organization, you feel you're a part of that family, okay? That is the responsibility of your organization. Your organization also have a responsibility to make sure that they instill a culture of diversity. So whoever you are, if you're black, if you're white, if whoever you are, you feel that you're also, you know, your points, your viewpoints, your contributions matter. That is the responsibility of your organization and not you as a person or as an individual within your career. The other responsibility of your organization is also to provide opportunities for growth, okay? So your organization, so it doesn't matter whether your workplace looks down, damn, whatever it is, it has opportunities for growth. If you search hard, you realize that the organization has these three things that I just told you about. There's the inclusion, there's the diversity, and then there's the provision for opportunities for growth. Now, what is your responsibility as an employee? Amongst many of them, amongst, you know, abiding to the employee manual of your organization and all that, you have the responsibility to seize opportunities. You have the responsibility to recognize opportunities. And how do you recognize opportunities? Number one, you find out from your HR. When you join an organization, find out what are the opportunities for learning. Does this organization pay for additional trainings outside of the trainings that are there? So find out, take time to find out how much is allocated to every employee every year. This information, you should know it, okay? So when we ask you how much, oh, within the UN, for example, it's $5,000 per person per year, just as an example. You should be able to know and say it. Oh, within my organization, there's an allocation. And then a year should not go that you haven't utilized that opportunity. Find a way to utilize that opportunity, okay? So find out what learning opportunities they are. Other organizations, for example, when I worked for UNICEF, there was an opportunity to learn through a staff exchange program. So you would leave your country and go to another country, okay? With that one, you would go there, you know, learn some new skills, you know, learn a new culture, and then learn new ways of doing the same thing that you were doing. So find out, are there opportunities like that within your organization? So they may not be an actual training, but it may be like, you know, a training in that regard. Another opportunity for learning that you can also recognize within your organization when something is not straightforward is job shadowing. In my last job at UNICEF, because I was going international, because I felt like I was going global, I believed I was going global, there was the head of program monitoring and evaluation within UNICEF. His name is Sidney Namo. This guy is brilliant. He's actually one of the most intelligent people I have ever come across. He's Zimbabwean, so he used to work in UNICEF. And I remember when I started working, it was around how does somebody know things like this? So I asked him if I could job shadow him. Now with job shadowing, is that you ask somebody who is doing the things that you want to do, okay? In your organization. Or somebody who is already in the place where you want to be. And it becomes easy if it's within your organization. So you go to somebody and you tell them, I want to job shadow you. So what do? It means when they are going to certain meetings, you ask them to invite you. So when you sit there and they are talking, you're taking notes. You're taking notes on the things that they are saying. You can even be taking notes on the English they are speaking. You can be, exactly, you can be taking notes on the posture, right? On how they are standing. You take notes about everything. That's also how you learn to advance in your career. And you know, these things sound quite silly, but for me, a lot of things that I learned about my current job, I learned them at the mouth of Sydney. So when Sydney stood in any meeting, I would be writing down. I would take my book, like this is one of my journals. I would take it and I would say, okay, when Sydney stands up, he holds his mic on the left side. So these are things that I personally do. He holds the mic on the left, you know, I would say that. And then when Sydney is speaking, he speaks in a deep voice. Okay, I don't have a deep voice, but I can speak with strength within my voice. When Sydney speaks, he speaks in a way that he will dismiss any doubt that, you know what, things are not working. So he will actually say, you know, as the experts in M&D, I say that all the time when I'm in meetings. I say, oh, as the M&D head. You know, I say that when I'm in meetings because I'm also just trying to show them that, you know what, I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm doing. And I'm also affirming myself. So you learn these things when you job shadow somebody. You actually learn or you actually see certain things that normally you wouldn't see. Because there are a lot of people who will speak in your meetings, who will speak in your workplace, who will speak in the line of your career. So it helps to also job shadow. So that's how you can also recognize some opportunities for learning. So you can do the job shadowing. Another thing that you can also learn, or you can recognize an opportunity for learning, is self-learning, okay? So how do you self-learn? Number one, girls, ladies, we go to the salon. We spend about 2 hours in the salon, right? If your hair has to be fixed nicely, right? I go to a certain salon in Ruaka because this girl does really, really very nice job. But she will tell you, when I'm seated there, me, I'm not there chatting. Me, I'm listening to something. Okay? I'm literally listening to something. The 2 hours that I'm there, I don't want them to come to a waste. I'll put my earphones and I'll be listening to something. You have an opportunity to learn. If you travel by matatu, right? In the matatu, there's a lot of noise. I've been in one matatu and oh gosh, the noise that is there, right? But you can choose to say, okay, I'll buy earphones. And earphones are about 150 bob, the ones that I saw in town. You don't have to buy very expensive ones. If you want to buy expensive ones, you can buy expensive ones. But you can buy 150 bob ones, right? And then when you're in a matatu, you're going home, and you know that this trip with the Kenyan traffic, with the Nairobi traffic, it will take me about an hour. You can learn something. Listen. Listen. So take an advantage. Take an intentional step to learning. Because you know what? Time will not create. Because perhaps when you get home, you're the one who is supposed to cook on that day. So you will not have an opportunity to do other things, right? But in that time, you don't have anything or anyone distracting you. Take an opportunity to learn every time you find yourself alone. For those that drive, the traffic in Nairobi, again, is also very, very hectic. Learn to take moments to just listen to something that will educate you, that will educate your mind, that will challenge you, that will challenge your mind. So this can be something inspirational. This can be in line with your work. So remember how I've said you need to learn trends within the UN are saying, all right? So I'll be listening to, say, a podcast. So within 30 minutes, I've learned a thing or two. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how they are doing this. And then I'll go into a meeting and I'll speak as if it's my own thoughts. That's how we do it, okay? Yes, you go into a meeting and then you say it as if it's, you know, in this era, the way we are doing, we are, you know? But when you have learned it or you've just listened to it, all right? So this is how people are succeeding. This is how people, it's how well you communicate your learning, your thoughts, your knowledge, your experiences. This is how people are growing. And this is what is differentiating each and every one of us. You know, if you came to my workplace or you sat in a meeting that you wouldn't recognize me. Because I'm very unrecognizable. Like, you would not recognize me. Because the things I would be saying, the way I'll be saying them. Now, I work with white people. You understand? So where I'm at, the level that I'm at within the context that I'm working with. So again, I knew that I needed to be bored about the things that I know. right? So last week I got into a certain meeting, and I was telling them that, right now, the UNHCR has created a website where we have all M&E tools, and they are sitting in one place. So if you want to shop around the things that you want to do in terms of monitoring and maybe just checking through impact of your programming, there's this website. But I sat in a meeting where somebody was presenting, and I took everything that they said and I took it into this meeting and explained that this is what the UNHCR is doing right now, okay? So these things that I'm telling you, they are not things that I don't do. They are things that I do. And I was being asked questions. Oh, okay, so what's the website like? I'm like, oh, okay, at the moment, we have information around this. But these are things that, and I hadn't even be very intentional, because people will not normally come and ask you. So sometimes how you do it is in certain conversations, even at lunchtime, you have an opportunity to sit with, I don't know, but when I worked with UNICEF, the head of UNICEF would sit with anybody. So that day when you are sitting with a person like that, because sometimes you'd be seated and he'll just get his plate and come and sit with you, okay? So it's not like you have taken your plate and you've gone to sit there. Learn what you are going to say in that moment. That will make that guy remember you, okay? Learn how you're going to carry yourself. It doesn't mean that you're carrying yourself as, as a beggar, no, it's not that. You're equally important. However, that person, let's face it, that person has influence, has power. Therefore, there's a way that you carry yourself. So in carrying yourself well in that moment, that can be something that can help you seize an opportunity. So if this guy is talking about politics, have something to say about politics. It's not like you need to know everything that is happening in Nairobi or in Kenya, right? But have a little something, at least know that the president of Kenya is Ruto. At least know that, right? At least know that, you know what? The parliament of Kenya has, say, 30 ministers, just as an example. Basic information or basic knowledge about certain things, just not basic. And this is not for you to even say, oh, the constitution is from page 1. No. But certain things that are general knowledge. And how do you learn them? You learn them during these times when you're in a matatu going home. And then you are listening through your earphones. When you're in the saloon or, right? So please, take time to make sure that you capitalize on the momentum of showcasing who you are as a person who has learned things over time and the experiences and the knowledge, okay? Now, I wanted to talk about managing your life. In managing your life, there are 3 things that I want to speak about. I want to speak about time management. I want to speak about work-life balance, and then I will speak about leadership. Today, I had 2 sisters ask me, what does your typical day look like? So I will share it again, what my typical day, and I'm not trying to give you pressure. This is me, okay? I'm not trying to give you pressure. So I'm going to take you through my typical day. And the reason why is because I'm trying to teach you a little something. So first of all, remember, I have a personal vision, right? a personal vision that is written down. But beyond the personal vision, I have personal goals, right? And these personal goals, I have even tried to make sure that these personal goals are aligned to a daily goal, a weekly goal, a monthly goal, until a yearly goal, right? And this is something that I taught you last time. But beyond that, I have a weekly schedule or a weekly timetable. You know how we have timetables at school or at the university? I have a personal timetable that helps me manage my life, manage my time. Why? You heard in the introduction that I lead the UN Global Program. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I am managing about 80 projects across the world, okay? But I'm also raising 3 children, okay? In a foreign land, okay? This is not my home country. I'm a wife. I'm a sister, okay? I'm a brother, I'm a cousin. I'm a friend, okay? I'm also a member of KICC. And Sister Margaret will tell me you're leading prayer, okay? Sister Margaret, week in, week out, will tell me you're leading prayer. But beyond that, I'm also studying towards my Master of Project Management, okay? So, because I have all this going on, it means it will do me well if I manage my time, okay? Now, because I need to manage my time, and I have a well-defined vision, and this vision has chosen for me, number one, my friends, has chosen for me how I spend my time, has chosen for me how I carry myself. It means when it comes to effective time management, it has to be clear for me also how I will do it. So today I will teach you a practical way of doing it. So for me, number one, I have a timetable. So today when you go back home, you do well to come up with a personal timetable, okay? And this is personal for you. For you. What time are you going to wake up? So in the first place, it will not be as easy to follow it. But over time, it will become second nature to you. I personally wake up 3 a.m. every day. This is not to give you pressure, like I said. This is me, okay? I've done this since my college days. So it's not like I started it yesterday, okay? So I wake up 3 in the morning. When I wake up 3 in the morning, I study my Bible for 1 hour. So 3 to 4, I study my Bible. So yesterday, there was a lady that joined the prayers with us. So her name is Sibongile. She is from Zimbabwe. She is my friend who is staying at my house. She works with UNICEF Malawi country office. So I told her that, I'm leading prayer today. And she said, oh, let me join. So she's Catholic. And then she was asking me after the prayer session, how do you know all of these verses? How do you know how to just pray? So I said, it's because I read my Bible every other day. And when I read my Bible, in that moment, sometimes it doesn't feel like I have understood or I have gotten everything that I think I should get from my Bible study time. So from 3 to 4, I'll study my Bible. Then from 4 to 6, personally, now this is me. Me, the call that I have on my life and where I'm going. Me, I pray for 2 hours in the morning. So I'll pray from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. every single day. And if you have heard me lead prayer, a lot of times my prayer will be a mixture of scripture and tongues. They come so natural for me, second nature to me, because I pray for long periods of times, and that helps me. So between that time, I'm praying. Then from 6 to around 7:30, I am getting ready for work. Okay? Now, during that time, I also don't leave it idle. I play something. When I get into the shower, I'll play something, and I'm just listening to something. So it can be motivational. It can be a sermon by a pastor. It can be just anything. So as I'm showering and getting ready, I'm listening to something because I don't want my mind idle. Once I get ready, from my 7:30 to around 8, it is the time that I instill my personal convictions into my children. So if you heard me last time, I ask my children who they are representing every single day. So I tell them, because when I step out of my house, I tell myself, I'm not just going out. Heaven is going out. Okay? As a Christian, I tell myself, heaven has just stepped out. So as I'm going out, if somebody doubts the love of God, oh, this is the love of God they will see today. Okay? So these are the things that are my personal convictions. So I do that to my children as well. So I tell them, as you step out, you're representing God. As you step out, you're representing Malawi as my country. As you step out, because if people have not met any Malawian, and you're the first Malawian, you've got to represent them well. Haven't I represented Malawi well? Right? Yeah, so if I'm the only Malawian that you ever meet, at least I have represented Malawi very well. So if you're the only Kenyan somebody will ever meet, please do well to represent Kenya well, right? Because other people will never have an opportunity to come to Kenya. Other people will never have an opportunity to meet a lot of Kenyans. But if you're the only Kenyan they will meet, I pray that you represent Kenya well, right? Other people may not have an opportunity to come to KICC Kenya. You are the representation of KICC Kenya. So when you go there, you are not just representing yourself. You're also representing KICC Kenya. So it helps to make sure that you represent the world well. So this is one of my personal convictions that I keep telling you that I have made sure to instill in my children. So I tell them, you're representing Malawi, but you're not only representing Malawi, you're also representing the Chitulu family. But beyond the Chitulu family, you're also representing yourselves. So I tell them, so representing themselves, it's the personal brand that I was telling you about. So my kids already know. At age 3, Jordan knows that she's also representing. And I was telling the sisters I sat with that, you know what, with my daughter, when I ask her that, what are the things that you are going to practically do to represent all of this effectively as you behave like Jesus? My daughter will tell you, she's 3 years old, and she told, there'll be no punching, and then there'll be no snatching toys. You know, if I want to go to the toilet, I'll ask my teacher. You understand? But these are wisdoms that I'm instilling in my little daughter who is 3 years old. So as you are, it helps that on a personal level, every single day, within this personal timetable that you have a moment where you speak out your convictions, where you encourage yourselves in the convictions that you have. Okay? So you tell yourself a lot of things. Before you step out, you encourage yourself. Because as you step out, the world is waiting. Or even just when you open your phone, the world is waiting to give you bad news. So make sure that this personal timetable guides you in terms of your personal convictions and the things that you self-believe. Okay? Then from around 8 o'clock when I drop off my kids to 8:30, that time I'm usually listening to Joe Austin. So I'm listening to Joe Austin because his sermons are usually 30 minutes. So I will listen to Joe Austin because he has very nice way of, teaching, right? He will teach about simple things, life applicable things. So it also helps that you plan out your time so that you don't have any wasted time in between. Then I go to work. After I go to work, I come back. I have a moment where, of course, in between we have lunch break and what have you, right? So you agree with me that in the 8 hours that you are at work, we are not working all the time. Even if you are somebody who is very focused, you're not working all the time. In between, you have moments where you do breaks. Okay? In the moments where you do breaks, find something that will help you just, relax your mind. Find something that will help you at least, more or less agree, energize, so that when you go back, you're able to do that. Now, beyond this timetable that I have of what I do, I also apply I also apply, I don't know what we call it. I'm trying to remember it, but it's prioritization box. Okay? I apply the prioritization box. So how does the prioritization box look like? So on a daily basis, you've got to use this prioritization box to help you prioritize the things that you are going to do that day or the things that you are going to achieve. Now, what I do is I arrange things in 4 boxes, and then I label them like this. This is very important. This is very critical, like, very urgent. This is not very important. And then this is not very urgent. So whenever you have a task, you have to ask yourself, is this important? Yes. Is this thing that I need to do urgent? No. In as much as it's important, but it's not urgent, you can do it some other time. Is this important? Is this urgent? Yes. It means you need to give it attention to do it that day or that time. Is this important? No. Is it urgent? Yes. You don't need to do it. It's not important, but it's urgent. Okay? All right? So there are certain things in life that are very, very urgent, but they're not important. Okay? So for me, I handle my time that way. So it will help if you define what is important and what is urgent. What is important and what is not urgent. What is not important and what is urgent. What is not important and what is not urgent. So be able to align your work. Be able to align everything that you need to do or achieve in a day. In that, it will sieve out what needs to be done that day. Okay? So it will help that you have a schedule. It will help that you have the prioritization box. So effective time management really will help you achieve everything that you're supposed to achieve. So if you have 1 hour of learning, you state that as urgent and important. Because if you have to learn every single day, you make time for it. So you can do 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the night. Or 30 minutes at lunch break. All right? But chatting may not be, may be important, but not urgent. All right? So it will help you sieve out what needs to be done now and what needs to be done later. Now, in as much as there's all of this going on and all of this that I tell you that I'm doing, I'm also a person that values having a good time. Okay? I value having a very good time. I love experiencing life. I love going to places. I love doing things. So for instance, my Sundays, I think I told you last time, my Sundays are for me and my kids. So once we leave this church now, right now as we leave, we are going somewhere. So we'll go somewhere and we'll try out some new food. And then we'll be talking about it. What do you think? What do you think? I do that with my kids all the time. Beyond that, I'm also somebody who go out shopping. Yesterday, I went to toy market. I went to toy market with a friend of mine. Apparently, she had been told, oh, there are so many stuff there. But that's work-life balance. Because beyond being this, person that I'm busy, I'm doing all of this, it also requires that you're able to chat with other people. You're also able to relate with other people. You're also able to have a good time by yourself and good time with other people. I also go to the cinema. I watch movies. I also sometimes sit and watch series with my son. My son will tell me, we need to watch The Flash, Mom. The Flash is super cool. People are talking about it. I will plan around it. How do I plan around it? I plan around it taking advantage sometimes of some of the holidays that we have, right? So, because I know on Wednesday it's International Labor Day, right? And yes, the rest of the things that I'm supposed to do, I'll wake up at 3, I'll pray, I'll do that, right? But in between, I'll sit down with Joe and we'll watch The Flash, okay? So we'll watch like 3 of the episodes. That's the time I'll give to him. Sometimes I'll ride bikes with the kids, all right? So what am I saying? It's very important that you go out there to achieve your dreams. You have a schedule that will help you manage your time. You have all of these things planned out, but have life-work balance. Have time to just enjoy your family. Have time to enjoy your friends. Have time to enjoy the people that matter to you, the people that, mean so much to you. It's not every day that, But I was laughing with this friend of mine. There was a day we spoke for 4 hours. I have not done that in my entire life. She was the first person that I did that with. And in that moment, she needed those 4 hours, all right? So I gave her the 4 hours. And I keep telling her that this is the first time I want to screenshot this so that I remember that I gave somebody 4 hours. We laughed over it. But I see people posting, a great catch up with my girl every day. They are speaking to somebody 4 hours. If you know, you know. And then they are posting that, yeah, friends that become family. When you find a sister who is not blood. And I'm like, where do you have this time to spend 3 hours speaking to somebody every single day? What are you talking about? What are the even if you have things to talk about. But really, learn to manage your time. Learn to manage your time. You can give your friend 15 minutes of your time. That should be enough in a day. You give them 10 minutes in the morning, you can catch up later in the day if you want to tell them or to give them like a feel of how your day has been like. If you want to vent, you can do that. But it doesn't have to be every day, 3 hours, 2 hours. Then there's something wrong, right? Again, plan for time to rest. Rest should be planned for. It shouldn't be an objective. God created the world in 6 days. On the 7th day, he rested. So you have to have a time when you rest. Plan for resting time. But it shouldn't be an objective that I should be resting all the time. Okay? Okay? Now, there's something else that Apostle Joshua Selman likes to say. He likes to say, what is pursuing you determines how far you run or how fast you run. Okay? If a lion is chasing you, you run like a lion is chasing you, right? Okay? If it is a chicken, you also run like a chicken, right? Right? So, what is pursuing you? What is it that you want to achieve in your life? That is what is pursuing you. So, if all you want is Kenya, then you work, you spend your time, you do things in your life as if all that there is just Kenya. Okay? Okay? I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. If all that is pursuing you is just so that you can become the director of the bank, okay? You also run. You also work. You also make investments in your life. That, you know what? All that I want out of my life is just to be the director of the bank. But if what you want for yourself in as far as your career is concerned is a global influence, is a global place, you also carry yourself. So it means the way you manage your time as a global person. The trainings that you expose yourself, the learnings that you give yourself to, everything that you are going to do starting from today will show us that you are going global. That nations are coming to the rising of your life. That Gentiles are seeking out, that kings are seeking out. Okay? Now, what does it mean? It means that you have to develop some personal leadership skills. And some personal leadership skills that I also encourage are skills about excellence. Okay? One of the things that I'm very, very good at is organizing things, putting things together, cleaning. I'm very, very good at that. If I clean the house today, or if I put things together, if my husband steps into the room, he will tell you, my wife cleaned this room. Or my wife, like I leave a signature. Okay? I leave a signature of the things that I've done. If it is a report that I'm writing, my supervisor will tell you, I pay attention to detail. It's in very rare cases that you find my report with spelling, problems or challenges or mistakes. Not me, okay? I will pay attention to detail. What am I saying? What I'm saying is, if you want to be a leader, even without leading anyone, even without any authority at this level, you can already be a leader right now by making sure that you're practicing excellence. So, if it is something that you do, if you're a cook, when we eat something that you have prepared, we should be able to say, this was cooked by Sis Margaret. You understand? Do you know those type of things? So, for example, KFC. Even if your eyes were closed and they gave you KFC in the mouth, you'll be able to tell, right? That this is KFC. It has the signature of KFC on it, right? So I'm sure there are other things that you can easily tell. You know, there are certain people who do voiceover, right? When they do it, you know that, you know what? In as much as this is an advert for staff, this is an advert for school, it is the same person because of the excellence, because of the consistency of the way that they do their things. So everything that you ought to do, do it with excellence. Do it as unto the Lord, okay? Do it in a level that it leaves a signature of who you are. And people can clearly say, this one must have been here. Or even they should mistake you for something excellent that somebody else has done because you are so excellent. Do you know there are those situations where people will say, this decoration, it must have been done by ABCD. But because this person does it, and another person has reason, but because people are used to this other person who is a decorator and they are very good, people will attach even the work of somebody to another person. So if you want to advance in your career, if you want to be a leader in your career, you've got to do things with excellence. So again, when you are doing things with excellence, it means your results have to be replicated everywhere, every time. Okay? Your results have to be replicated, have to be repeated everywhere, every time. So if you're writing a report for the church, we should see. Okay? If you're writing a report for your workplace, we should see. The commitment that you have for your workplace because you are paid every other month, we should see it everywhere. We should see it anywhere that you're at. So again, it also, so you notice that a lot of these things speak into each other, personal branding, you know, the consistency, communicating yourself consistently everywhere. You notice that even with leadership, it calls that you're consistently communicating yourself everywhere. So there's something that one of the people that I like to listen to says in as far as leadership is concerned. And I'm still in the process of memorizing it. I hope one of these days I'll be able to speak it from my heart. So this person is Jim Rohn, and he sums up leadership in a very, I would say, interesting way. And if you're able to, I would encourage you to write it down, because I feel like it speaks into something that made a lot of sense for me. So he says, be kind but not weak. Okay? So you've got to be kind but not weak. You hear me? There's a difference in being weak and being kind. You can be kind but not weak. So if you're a leader, you need to be kind. So already if you're a practicing leader or you are taking yourself to the place of leadership, you've got to be kind but not weak. So people shouldn't just be all over you because you are a leader. People shouldn't just take advantage of you. If you need to speak against something, speak against it. If you need to be stern in a situation that calls for you to be stern, okay? And then says, be bold, but not a bully. Okay? So, you know, sometimes people think in being bold, you have to be a bully. You have to bully everyone around. You have to make everyone feel small. No. You can be bold. I'm very bold. But did I make anyone feel small? No. So you can be bold, but not a bully. You don't have to make anybody feel small. You don't have to make anybody feel less than. So if you are going to be a leader in exercising humility, you need to be bold, but not a bully. Be thoughtful, but not lazy. Okay? So sometimes people are just too thoughtful to the place that they are lazy to do certain things, okay? So remember, one of the ways you realize your vision is a place of pain. You just can't be thoughtful. You just can't be feeling sorry about these things that bring you pain, okay? Be ready to act. Be ready to make sure that beyond your thoughtfulness, you act and you show, okay? So don't be lazy. Another thing is to be proud. You know, be proud, but not arrogant, okay? You can be proud of something that you have achieved. You can be proud of, you know, a situation that you have made a difference towards, right? But you don't need to be arrogant. So be proud, but not arrogant. And then it says, be humble, but not timid, okay? So be humble, but not timid. So timidity is, yeah? But being humble is just, you know, being approachable, being somebody some people can easily talk to or can easily approach. But remember, don't be weak. So in closing, I want to tell you that you can be anything that you desire to be. You can become anything that you want or you truly believe is possible for you to become. Nothing is ever far-fetched. You can walk in the corridors of the United Nations if that is the place for you. You can walk in the government of Kenya if that is where your place of calling or your career is. You can become the next president of Kenya if that is who you believe you are. You can advance in your career. However, there's work to be done. No one is coming. No situation is far gone. No situation is far gone. Whatever situation you're in right now, it is not far gone. So in closing, please come up with those personal visions, personal goals. Make sure you have personal convictions that will take you through day by day amidst the challenges that you're going to face. Thank you once again, Pastor, for the opportunity, and thank you so much to the leadership, and thank you for your time.
I think we should give a round of applause according to the strength of the impact she has had on you. So if she has impacted you heavily, give it loud, give it heavy, heavy, heavy. Thank you. Thank you so much. If it were up to me, we would be starting again because she has shared a lot and I know she still has a lot more to give us, but time is far much spent. I know we had promised to have a question and answer session, but again, time is far much spent. So I'm going to consult with her and then she'll tell me the channel through which she'll be receiving questions. So I'm sure she'll give us a personal channel, whether you'll be sending them to her DMs and then with time she will answer you, or whether you'll forward them to me and then I'll forward them to her. I will let you know the specifics in the church group and in the mentorship groups. But I would just love to say thank you so much, Mirriam. Thank you for taking your time you should be spending with Joel and Jonathan right now, but thank you so much for spending your time and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and your understanding thus far, your career insights. Thank you so much. We don't take it for granted, and we would love to have you again, and I know we will. The year is young. We're just in Q2, yeah? Yeah, and I hope we have all had a very impactful session. So I'll just close it at this. Kindly be ready with your questions, and I'll let you know how we can interact with her, okay? Okay? Are we all impacted? Is there some transformation taking place within? Okay, and with that, I'd love to close this session for today. Thank you.